We've had a couple guests on the show at this point, and one of the things that I've heard a couple times is this sort of recurring theme of you should ideally, in an ideal world, know what you want. And in fact, one of the people that we had on here earlier, he talked about how in his course he trains people in real estate. He goes, I believe the first 2 weeks of the 12-week course is specifically on like self-development and what do you want out of this business, like how much money are you looking to make, do you want to work with people, do you want this to just be a you thing, right? And like that is where he starts, because he found that without that the success rate was lower. When he like added this piece into the course and he made this the very first piece, his success rate went up dramatically. So I'd love to hear, in your consultation and working with both people and companies, how much time do you spend on this question, and what are some of the questions you ask them to help them think through this?
Absolutely. When I'm working with companies or businesses, it's a little bit of a different game just because it's on a larger scale and we're talking a lot more on business and systems and processes and things that need to be in place. But when I'm working with individuals, absolutely, your other guest is absolutely correct here, because mindset, this has been said time and time again. The whole game, it's really the entire game. If your mindset is not in place, everything that shows up in your life, and I'm not talking about manifestation and sit here on your couch and everything will just happen for you. I'm not a big believer in that. I'm talking about really your mindset is going to determine how you think and how you verbalize your thoughts. So how you speak, and those determine your actions, and your actions at the end of the day are going to determine your outcome, your results. Your actions determine what shows up in your life. So mindset is absolutely crucial. Like I said, I was lucky enough to be exposed to a mentor like Jim Rohn when I was 16 years old. And if you know anything about Jim Rohn, it's a lot of philosophy. It's business philosophy, but at the end of the day, it's philosophy. He digs deeper into all of these concepts and how you can work on yourself, how you can be better. One of his most famous quotes is actually a very simple quote as well. He says, "Don't wish for things to change. Wish that you were better. Don't wish it was easier. Wish you were better." It's very simple, right? So it's such a simple concept, but it's not easy. And there's a difference between easy and simple, right? So he also used to say, just to tie this in here, what's easy to do is also easy not to do, right? So the small things, the small actions, the day to day that's easy to do for you to be successful is also easy not to do. So it's easy to neglect. And success is really just 1% at a time, day by day, over a decade, 2 decades, 3 decades. Then it shows up. Then it hits you in the face, whether you like it or not. So, I tell people all the time, you're going to get what you deserve. Don't worry about that. I guarantee you that you'll get what you deserve, whether you like it or not. What you deserve doesn't mean it's going to be positive. In your mind, it might be, but what you deserve is going to be an accumulation of your actions over the decades. So it really depends on your actions. You're going to dictate that yourself, consciously or unconsciously, but you will get what you deserve, good or bad. Right. So absolutely, mindset is everything. And yes, when I work with people, the first thing that we do is mindset related. We're discussing their mindset around money and finances and sales and business and a lot of these other things that need to be handled before you can equip yourself with the necessary skills to then go out there and win in sales or win in business. So I'll definitely agree there. I think it's one of the biggest pieces that need to be handled for sure.
And so what would be some of those things that you talked about, like money and finances there, like what would be some of the questions like that people can, even as they like listen to this podcast or watch this on YouTube, that they can take a piece of paper and a pen and self-reflect on?
Yeah, so just to give some, value to your audience, I'll give a couple of those questions here. The first thing I would do is I would really look at what my guiding philosophy has been so far. So from the very beginning, as far back as you can remember, up to this day, what has been your guiding philosophy? Meaning, what are some belief systems that have led you to where you are today? If you, for example, if you believe that formal education is important, and you pursued formal education your entire life, and now you're 30 something and you're still working on your masters, and now you have your masters. So whether that's good or bad, that's not what I'm saying. That has been a guiding philosophy and a belief system that has led you to where you are today. Vice versa, if you believe self-education is more valuable than formal education, which is myself as an example, you decided early on to pursue self-education and invest tons of money in yourself in courses, books, programs, mentors, and decided consciously to drop out of school, the formal education route, and you've used that to get into sales, into business, and to propel yourself towards success in a much more accelerated path. That has been a guiding philosophy and a belief system. So that's for myself as an example. So I would look at what have been your guiding belief systems, your guiding philosophies over your lifetime. And then I would write down what results have these philosophies gotten you. in your personal life, in your health and wellness, in your relationships, in your business, in your wealth, in your success, in your happiness, and be honest with yourself. If the results are terrible, give yourself a terrible score, right? And then look at where you need to pivot and which of those guiding philosophies you need to change and open your mind to, in order to then over the next decade, over the next 5 years, 3 years, whatever it might be, change those results for yourself. So that's one of the first things I would look at: your guiding philosophies that have gotten you to where you are and what needs to change to get to where you want to get to. So I'll give that, because I feel like that itself is enough of an actionable step for people to really implement. And in my experience, the more items there are to do, the less gets done. So let's focus on one thing. If your audience just does that one exercise, I think it'll be extremely valuable. And tied in with that, you have to obviously, this assumes that you know where you want to get to over the next 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, right? Which means you have to then reverse engineer and look at what guiding philosophies you need to implement to get there over the next 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, 10 years. So obviously an additional aspect of that exercise is to know where you want to get to. So you'd have to sit down and really look at, again, clarity, the life you want to create, the game you want to play, the goals you want to achieve, where you want to be in the next 3, 5, 7, 10 years, and what's an ideal lifestyle for you. And based on that, you reverse engineer your guiding philosophies that are going to lead you there.